Hello, this is the state of the school, Frank's School, Camp Ranch campus, but I'm all over the world now because I'm talking about travel. And I'm doing it because of, to reveal the effect that it has had on this world, this school, and me. And now I want to, moving away from this period of time where I took students in groups to Europe for the thrill of teaching students and believing that their lives would be enriched by that experience. But anyway, unwittingly, not unwittingly exactly, but unintentionally, I had built up points, they call it, or something like that, credits of some kind, so that I myself and another had a free trip to Europe and 2 weeks in a city or given cities. A week as it turned out, a week's stay in two different cities. They paid for the hotel. They didn't pay for meals, but they paid for lodging and the travel. And so I convinced my wife to go with me on this. The first trip had been hard on her, very hard on her, and I wasn't sure that she would ever travel again. But she agreed to do it. I really was hoping she would. And this time we stayed in cities. Paris, a week there, and Rome, a week there. And, you know, with the cities, I just don't have that much to say about them. I mean, the tourists go to these cities all the time. What was special for me, well, we learned lots. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But my style of traveling is so rough in a way. It was... I realized that, but we had the lodging and so most of it was okay, but it was a hard trip as well. But the most interesting part about it was, at least for me, probably for both of us, was to go from Paris to Rome. We traveled by land. We didn't fly. We traveled by land, and once again we went through Switzerland and on into Italy by the Glacial Express, I think they call it, by train. Pretty much, the whole way by train. And made a disastrous mistake when we got to Venice by train in the late afternoon, and there was no lodging anywhere. The only thing we could do was get back on the train and head for Rome, where we finally did find lodging. That was a real big mistake. But going through Switzerland, I was met up by a man named Pierre Arnaud, whom I had met online. He's really a brilliant engineer, computer engineer or something. And we corresponded about bisses. Remember bisses? B-I-S-S-E-S? Those water canals going along the sides of mountains. And I had told him that I had gone to Switzerland specifically to see bisses on that first trip. And had really failed to see them. And he said, well, if you ever come back, I'll show you bisses. And oh, did he ever. I mean, he unbelievably hospitable. His parents kept us overnight in their home, not in the Alps, it was down in the central part of Switzerland. And then they ahead of us, and then Pierre with us, went into the French or the Alps of the Valais, where the most of the bisses are, the most spectacular ones, and he took us along the Bisse du Rho, R-H-O, the Bisse D-O, new word, R-H-O. And now I didn't have a camera with me. I didn't travel with cameras at any point, but I'll give you a link for the Bisse du Rho so you can see what he took us along. We found ourselves walking along these skinny little paths with huge cliffs. At one point a helicopter flew below us transporting a cow. It would just take me way too long to explain what that was like, but I will give you that a link of many about that and bisses in general. And It's not my intent here to explain what these trips were like. It's my intent really to tell you that the influence is there. So my curiosity about Bisses was finally satisfied. I mean, all my life I'll be curious about Bisses, but Pierre Arnaud saw to it that I saw them. And a day after being in the Notre Dame Cathedral, this is before, of course, it burned, up at the top in Paris, the day before we had been doing that, one day later, we were on the Swiss, in the Swiss Alps going along these. And personally, I thought these Bisses were a greater testament to human achievement than Notre Dame de Paris. That's very strange to say that, but at least I felt they were comparable in unbelievable achievements. Well, with that real dramatic statement, I guess I'll stop for today.